Are you struggling with problems in the bedroom? Well, I'm here to tell you that you are not alone. I'm going to explain today in this video exactly how many people are struggling with different types of sexual dysfunction and what exactly does it mean when you're having problems in the bedroom. So all the numbers of this video I'm going to tell you are from studies of prevalence. And prevalence is how often we see a disease in a population, or what proportion of the population or percentage of the population suffers from that condition. When we're looking at things like sexual disorders, there's a few things that make these studies challenging. One is the definition of these conditions can be variable from study to study. The other thing is that these are very different depending on the type of population you're studying. That can include different ages, different sexes, different cultural backgrounds, and different ways of getting the information or asking the questions. So keep it in mind as we move forward. First half of the video is going to talk about women, and the second half of the video is going to talk about men. So as far as women with sexual dysfunction, they look at all prevalent studies. They find that about 40 to 50% of women suffer from some sort of sexual dysfunction. That's 1 in 2 women. That is very, very common. The first condition is hypoactive sexual desire disorder. And this is essentially when women have no desire to have intercourse or even fantasize or do things of a sexual nature, and this is causing significant bother to them. So some women may have no low desire and not be bothered by it. So they would not be considered to be having this hypoactive sexual desire disorder. In the UK, in middle-aged women, they found the prevalence to be about 17%. Looking at the United States and Sweden, they found that to range from 33% to 35%, so 1 in 3. And in Australia, they found it to be as high as 55%. When looking across all studies, after about the age of 65, this is very common, seen in 40 to 50% of women. So we've got a real problem on our hands. If 50% of women are bothered by low sexual desire, we need to find out what's going on. And I think the big problem here is that women are not talking about it with their doctors, and their doctors are not always trained on what to do to help them, which makes it a very self-perpetuating, difficult, and challenging issue. When they looked at levels of self-perceived, meaning that they felt they had low levels of lubrication, it was about 21 to 29%. However, in women with diabetes, that rate was significantly higher, up to 41%. Another problem they looked at was orgasmic dysfunction. And what that is that a woman, when she is sexually excited and is interested in having sex, she has difficulty achieving orgasm or is unable to achieve an orgasm at all. In the US, Sweden, Australia, and Canada, they saw rates of orgasmic dysfunction anywhere between 16 to 25%. That's almost 1 in 4 women. That's a hugely large amount. And in Iran, they found this rate to be as high as 37%. Dyspareunia, or pain that occurs either before, during, or right after penetrative vaginal intercourse, is extremely variable. Rates range from anywhere from 2% to 27%. One of the causes of painful intercourse is called vaginismus. And this is when you have a painful contraction of the pelvic floor muscles or the muscles in the vagina that makes it extremely difficult for penetration to occur. And this is seen in 6% of populations that have been studied. A special thanks to Private Internet Access for sponsoring this video. My work here on YouTube involves a lot of research, and Private Internet Access ensures I don't run into any pesky geo restrictions. It can do the same for you, especially since it's compatible with all the major streaming services. Private Internet Access is the world's most transparent VPN provider, with over 30 million downloads. How does it work? Private Internet Access changes your IP address and reroutes it through an encrypted tunnel. Your internet activity is hidden from your internet service provider, network administrator, and any unwanted watchful eyes. In one click, you're ready to access more content than ever before, be it medical or not. Now, how do you determine if a VPN is right for you? Well, I usually want to know 2 things. Is it easy to use, and can I trust the product? And Private Internet Access checks those boxes. First, it's user-friendly with quick speeds, and one subscription can protect up to 10 devices at the same time. And as far as trusting Private Internet Access goes, they've consistently proven they don't store any of their users' data. Plus, they are completely transparent with what they offer. Their VPN is 100% open source with their code publicly available, so anyone can take a look and see how secure and private the service really is. Check it out today with the link in the description for 82% off just for you. That's 3 months free, and it's $2.11 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee. Signing up is easy, risk-free, and you get 30-day money-back guarantee if you don't like it. And to top it off, they've got 24/7 customer service support. So moving on to men. Men having low desire, which is often a sign of having low testosterone levels. You can see low desire in men anywhere between 15 to 25%. And just like in women, this increases dramatically after the age of 60. And this very commonly is because after the age of 60 to 65, many people start to experience other medical conditions that can create a lot of distress, discomfort, pain, which can make sex less of an important priority for those people, and thus they can have less interest in having sex. Erectile dysfunction, which is the inability to have an erection that is firm enough for penetrative intercourse, is very common. So in men younger than 40, the rates of erectile dysfunction are usually less than 10%. When you get to 60, that rate increases to 20 to 40%. And by 70 to 80 years of age, about half of men are experiencing erectile dysfunction. Premature ejaculation is a condition where a man ejaculates before he or his partner desires. And this is variable. There are certainly strict definitions used in research purposes, but practically speaking, if it's causing you or your partner bother, then it is considered premature ejaculation. It ranges anywhere between 8 to 30% globally around the world. That's with the exception of 2 studies. In one study in the United States, for men 50 to 59, they found this rate as high as 55%. And in another study in London, they found rates as low as 3.5%. I think this is a condition that is very infrequently talked about, but is very, very common. Delayed ejaculation is defined as a prolonged period of time for which it takes extended amounts of sexual stimulation for a man to reach climax or orgasm. There are few studies on this, and we estimate that the rate is somewhere between 1 and 10%. However, it's likely higher in elderly men who are less commonly included in these studies. As far as orgasmic dysfunction or difficulty attaining orgasm for men, they looked at a study in the United States, and about 8% of men had difficulty attaining orgasm in the last year. Very little study has been done on pain during intercourse for men. However, one small study found the rate as high as 16%. And lastly, I want to focus on younger men because I'm seeing more and more men in my clinic who are younger who have issues with erections. So there have been a few studies across the world looking at erectile dysfunction in younger men. A Canadian study looking at young men between the ages of 16 and 21 found rates of sexual dysfunction to be as high as 15%. Fortunately, only 2% of those men had severe erectile dysfunction. In an Italian study of almost 450 men younger than age 40, they looked also at rates of erectile dysfunction and factors that are associated with having erectile dysfunction. And they found 26% of these men had erectile dysfunction. Interestingly, they had higher rates of premature ejaculation, tobacco use, and they more commonly used illicit drugs. This is where it's really important to differentiate between premature ejaculation and erectile dysfunction. Many men will think that they're having erectile dysfunction because they ejaculate too soon. So it's important always to distinguish when you're talking to your doctor, are you having an erection that goes away because you ejaculate, or is it going away before you climax? Because the treatment for these two is very different. And if you're curious to learn more about the treatment for premature ejaculation or erectile dysfunction, make sure you check out the videos that I've made on these two topics. A Brazilian study also looked at which young men were more likely to have issues, and they found that men who had less sexual education had more difficulties at the beginning of their sexual life, had never masturbated, or had lower levels of just education in general, were more likely to suffer from erectile dysfunction. Interestingly, other factors that we would expect to be associated with erectile dysfunction, like smoking, alcohol use, other medical conditions, depression, and anxiety, were not correlated in this study with having erectile dysfunction in young men. And lastly, in a study of men 36 to 40 years old who were active duty military in the United States, they found rates of erectile dysfunction to be as high as 33%. That's 1 in 3 men. Interestingly, they found these issues to be more common in men who were unmarried, not white, and had lower education. Also, those with poor psychological and physical health tended to be more likely to get erectile dysfunction in this group. So the whole purpose of this video for you guys was to let you know that you are not alone. So I hope that we got this across for you. As always, remember to take care of yourself because you're worth it.